Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. So today we're going to do the unboxing, how to set up for the first time and possibly the first cleaning on the brand new Dreame Aqua 10 Ultra Roller. This has been highly anticipated. I've had a lot of requests. This retails for $1,600. I did buy it with my own money and I wasn't paid for this video. If you want to see all the robot vacuum cleaners that I approve of, check out my website, justadadapproved.com. Sign up for my email list. When a highly rated robot that I highly recommend goes on sale, I send out an email letting you know about the great price. Justadadapproved.com and sign up for the email. I will be comparing this to the Flow. I did get a brand new Roomba Max 705, and I do have the Mova Z50. It's coming in next week, so look for lots of more videos coming. But let's get started. This is a super heavy box. You do have the option on Amazon to have it delivered into a room for an extra 20 bucks. All right, let's cut it open. I have no idea what to expect. And I do have a sprained wrist, so if you hear me kind of wincing or something, my wrist is sprained and man, does it hurt. And this thing's gonna be heavy. All right, here's what you get. Instructions. We'll open up all these boxes individually. Just some cardboard. Looks like the robot is here. It's heavy. Whoa. Okay, let's see what's in these boxes. Looks like a power cord. I thought it was European. It's American. Okay, brush. This we got two solutions. One for pet odor. One for normal. It has a 2 solution tank. I don't think there's anything else in that box. Okay, here's the actual robot. There's a tray, or a ramp. I like that it comes with instructions and a diagram, kind of like Roborock a little bit, but yeah, good. Nice user manual with lots of instructions, hopefully, yeah. All right, good. All right, there's the actual robot. Gotta lift it out. Okay, there's nothing else in here. Here's the actual robot. Okay, I do recommend, I should have done this on the floor. The dock is very heavy. It's got a handle on the back, but lift up and over. All right. Okay, not super heavy, but we got some tape here, tape there. This thing looks really cool. We're gonna go over every single detail, how to connect it to Wi-Fi, how to map our house, but wow. It looks really, really cool. 120 volts, 60 hertz, 4.1 amps, dust collecting, 440 watts when it's heating the water. Interesting. That's the connection for water lines. That's a separate kit. Interesting. So I wonder if we're going to be able to connect water lines to it. Yeah, there's usually a plug underneath there. So, but these water tanks are really different for Dreame. Robot reminds me of an X50. Yep, looks really cool. We're going to talk all about it. So it rolls real easy. It could roll right off your table or something, so be careful. Okay, here's everything that comes in the box. We get the robot vacuum cleaner. Here's the base station. We got this little ramp we got to install. Make sure that's nice and flush right there. Power cord, cleaning brush. I like that it comes with a manual, 2 different types of solution, an extra vacuum bag, and here's the actual robot. Let's lift this up. Let's take this bumper off. There's some, so that bumper is now free to move. Let's put this back on. And then here's the docking station. We're going to talk about the docking station and then we'll move on to the robot. So up top here, this is where the clean water tank is. You're going to fill this up with clean water and the dirty water tank. So you will have to empty this out and clean it out once in a while. Now around back there is a switch. Make sure this switch is in the down position or the line position. That's on. 3-prong cord, 6 feet long. We're going to plug it in Right here, there's a little bit of cord storage. Now the bottom of it, there's really nothing to see or access. Front to back, 17.5 inches or 45 centimeters. Now the widest part is up here, 42 centimeters or 16.5 inches. Now height, I have to be able to lift that top lid. It's right at 29.5 inches or 75 centimeters. Okay, we can pull this door off. It comes straight off. There's the dust bag. You'll have to change that every couple months. Very easy. Make sure you push that in all the way. There is the solution tank. It's got two. It's got A and B. Now B, I think, yeah, they both look to be about the same size. B might be a little bit smaller. But you're going to put the pet odor solution in B, and you're going to put the Dreame other solution in A. Close it, push it back, make sure that's in all the way. This door has a nice seal. Then you got to kind of put it in. It can be a little hard pushing that in, but make sure it's flush here and here. Now down here, this is where it's going to clean the mop pad. We got a little tray here we can take out. There's where it's going to suck the water up into the dirty water tank. Looks like it's going to blow air out right here. This is where, yeah, that's where it fills the robot up with water. Here's where it charges, and there's a little sensor. So that fits in there real nice. This is where it auto empties the dustbin. All right, now let's concentrate on the robot. It's exactly 13.75 inches wide or 35 centimeters wide. Let's do height. The tallest part is right here, and it's right at 9.7 centimeters. Let's do inches, so 3 7/8 inches. Now it does roll real easy. There's a power button and a home button right here. They are like physical buttons, and there's a light. It does have the bumper technology, but it does have LiDAR. The LiDAR is going to go up and down. I love robots that can raise and lower their LiDAR navigation, so when it wants to go under furniture or something, it can lower it. Now the front LED light, these are cameras. You can turn them off, but it also has really good obstacle avoidance. Side brush extends. There's also a really good sensor on the side. This is going to let you know when it's up against the wall, but it also helps avoid obstacles. And you can see there's kind of two little sensors there that it can raise and lower and move it out to the corner cleaning brush, mop roller. Again, here's where it charges the robot. Backup sensor, fills the robot up with water. Now, I'm going to show you, this is a dirty water tank. So the mop roller is going to mop your floor, and the dirty water gets sucked up into this dirty water tank. And the way it empties the dirty water tank is something's going to press this little right here, and that causes the door to open up. Everything's automatic with the docking station, but once in a while you will have to clean this. You can see the clean water comes in through here, that little hose, and goes into the robot. The robot has an internal water tank, and it sprays water on the mop roller to keep it wet. There's a float that can, if this does fill up, it'll tell the robot that it's full. But again, that little trap door we can see opens up. See, that's how the dirty water gets out of the dirt. It's not sucked out, it's just pushed out. So that just fits in there like that. Get a close up, yeah. 3 water lines looks like. Now the lid just comes off, and we have a dustbin. So it's going to vacuum your house. Everything's going to go into this dustbin. It does empty out this side right here. Here's where the suction's created. There's where everything goes into the dustbin from the roller. You are going to have to clean this filter. There's the filter. It is reusable. You should clean that every couple weeks. Fits down in there. Close that. Again, there's like a little inlet, and then there's where it's going to suck everything out. The base station will suck everything out of the dustbin. Okay, here's the mop roller. There is a cover that goes over it, but it's pulled back right now. There's where it auto empties. This is the dual brush roller. There's your drive wheels. It does have climbing capability. It says it's the upgraded Pro Leap. It can do 1.57 inches staggered. So 1.57 plus another 1.75 or 57 staggered. Again, this helps with long hairs. It does have a carpet sensor. It can raise this. I think it raises the wheels, but it'll lift the mop roller over the carpet, and then it'll put that cover. There's a cover that goes over it. And then these are the cliff sensors. So right here, this is so it doesn't fall down your stairs. You'll have to clean those every once in a while. There's those Pro-Leap wheels that come out. They're really cool to watch. This thing can really go over thresholds. Really good. It's got those robotic arms that come out. Now this all comes together, but this does really good with long hair because this end is open. So the long hairs are not going to wrap around. They're going to be directed down here and then they get sucked in. If you had pivot point, the long hairs could get wrapped around. This does a good job. Let's take a look at the mop roller. You're going to push this button and lift up like this. And that comes off. There's the motor. This does have a fluffer. So this is going to be fluffiness. If you've ever seen mop rollers, they can get really flat. And so this is going to be helping keep the fibers, they call it a fluffer. And it fits right here. Put that in, click in, there's the motor. Looks like there's the scraper and the suction and the water. Not sure exactly where the water comes out. Yeah, it looks like there's where the suction is in the scraper. Okay, so to put this back on, you're simply going to slide this on the motor. And then over here, push it down, just push it down, make sure it clicks. Here's where the dirty water, that's what that little door that opens up, that's how the dirty water comes out. Okay, I'm too curious how this works, so let's just go back to this. Those big ports, now again, this is just some gee whiz information. These are where the water comes out. It's a little, these big ports, that's where the water comes out. There's the suction and the scraper. So the mop roller turns this way. It gets wet and then gets scraped, then it gets fluffed, and then it cleans your floor. So if that makes sense, when the mop roller's in the water, it's turning this way. Yeah, turning this way. So it's gonna grab the dirt off the floor, go up. There is a comb here to help get the hairs off and stuff. And then at the top, it gets flushed with water, but then it gets scraped off immediately and sucked up into the dirty water tank. So that's how it works. It spins. I kind of thought it was different. I thought it got scraped, then the water got put on, and then it mopped your floor. But that's not the case. So it's going to pick up the dirt, spin, get wet, then immediately get scraped. If we can see, immediately get scraped. There's a long kind of scraper there. And then there's the little suction port that's going to suck all that up, and then it gets fluffed right before it goes onto your floor. All right, let's fill these up. Again, it's kind of color-coded B. The pet stuff goes in the... Ooh, it fills it up, so be careful. And then this is the Dreame standard solution. Mova does the same thing on their V50. So you're going to take it, and in the app, you can decide when it's using which either solution. Okay, I've got it plugged in. I don't see where the light is yet, but let's go take care of the tanks. The dirty water tank, we're going to put an effervescent tablet in there to keep it from stinking. It does have the bracket for the ionization module. I've done a review on those, do work. We're going to fill this up with just clean water. You could put some Shark Vax solution in here, just that way you would know what the concentrate is. But again, they don't really recommend that. So I'll have to play with that before I really recommend it. So fill this up with water. All right, yeah, these tanks remind me of the Mova V50 tanks. Again, I guess that's a light, little dim, but I do have the dock plugged in, power switch is on. Okay, we're gonna turn the robot on. We have to scan that with the app. So hold that. You could dock it, but it might be hard to scan that. There. I held it for about 5 seconds, let up. Lights come on. You're gonna hear a tune. We do need to get the Dreame app. It is free to use, but you gotta log in with a username and password. So let's, and then go down here. You should see this. I got a whole bunch of Dreamies. Right there, scan. So when you're logged in, hit scan. give it access to your camera, and then you're going to hold your camera on that QR code.
Welcome to use Dreame Robots cover and scan QR code to download Dreame Home app to
that
perform
was
operations.
weird. That raised up and down, and so did the robot went up and down.
Robot back into dock for
So
starting
this thing's talking a lot. Okay, so now I heard the robot is turned on. Hit next. All right, you're going to press and hold the two outer buttons, basically the home and the power button, for 3 seconds or till you hear something.
Waiting for the network configuration.
Okay, so click I heard and hit next. Okay, you're going to click on your Wi-Fi, give it your Wi-Fi password, then hit next. Now it's going to, so this is transmitting a Wi-Fi signal. Your device has to join it, so hit join. I'm using an iPad Air, works really well. You could use your iPhone. You may have to manually connect it to the Wi-Fi and then it should go back. So this typically works really well.
Robot and phone connected. Please return to app to wait for the result.
And that light I think is on steady. But all right, we're going to wait for 3 check marks. Okay, it says network connected successfully. Let's take this down and connect it. So let's go dockets. And this can be actually a little tricky. Sometimes when the robot's on, it doesn't like to move. I've noticed on the X50 and L50, those type of wheels can get really they can get like solid where they don't want to move. This one's actually moving, but if that is the case, you have to kind of lift it up and set it in there a little bit. So let's just dock it now. That changed to green, and we heard start charging. That tells me we have it docked correctly. And getting this door on is going to be a little tricky. You may think it's on, but it's not flush. And I already pinched my fingers a couple times, so. Okay, we're gonna go. We're in the app still. Next, give it a name. That's a good name. 35% charge, but we're gonna check for updates. I do recommend doing any of the updates before you go forward. All right, we have to agree. You can change these later, but this is kind of like a setup. Mop extend is on. Side reach, the brush is on. Auto LDS, LiDAR sensor, goes up and down when it wants to go under things. We have pets, yep. Capture pet pictures, yep, that's pretty cool. Smart voice, I don't like that. And then start experience. All right, there is a firmware update. You can cancel and do it later, but I do recommend doing it now. So let's do it, upgrade. Click OK, that's back up. So turn this on first. Automatic updates, I do recommend turning that on. And then we're gonna hit, so my current versions is 4392460. I'm gonna go up to 2825. Added new reinforcement learning, added new water stain cleaning, and fixed bugs. So update now.
Updating.
Ooh,
about 5 minutes.
this is new.
Nor start a cleaning task.
There's a upgrade for the robot and the dock. Ooh, boy, iRobot could learn something from this. They just released that Max 705 and its dock needed an update, and I don't know if that's a whole nother story I'm not gonna talk about, but iRobot just needs to do this. That's cool. So there's an update for both of them, and we're gonna watch the status of it. I've never seen that before. And the lights are kind of flashing. It's hard to see. The home and power are flashing and the lights are blue. And during these updates, sometimes the robot will turn off, turn back on. You'll hear charging and powering off or something. That's all normal. Okay, that took about 5 minutes, but this one's taken a while. Now, the reason I think this might be is the robot is the only thing that talks to the internet. So I think the update for the dock has to go through the robot. So it has to be, and then there's a wireless technology from there. I'm just guessing because that's what they told me over on the Roomba. That's how they do it. And this one does appear to be slower. The dock update is slower. So hopefully what started out as to be pretty cool is taking a little longer. It has not really gone above that 1% now for 5-10 minutes. Okay, that took about 15 minutes, a little longer than normal, but I do think it's important. So hit confirm. All right. Now we'll go through the settings later, but we're going to do fast mapping. Open up all your doors.
Start mapping. It will take about 5 to 10 minutes.
So it raises the LiDAR.
Room doors to be cleaned and clean up objects on the ground.
It's going to randomly, it can really lift that rear end a lot.
And do not block the room's entrance or move the robot or dock.
Yeah, don't move the dock. That's a whole new feature, how it lifts that rear end. I haven't seen that before in a Dreame. Now I do have a threshold there, and I think I can add a threshold, so we'll see. I can add no-go zones while it's mapping. It's so quiet. Okay, so if you want to, you can add a threshold while it's mapping. This is a super cool feature. Let's do it. So it's going to pause it, add a passable threshold. Again, make sure it's not around stairs. It turns like the cliff sensors off. So I've got enough of my house mapped to where I can add this threshold. That's going to be one of the main reasons for this robot is its threshold ability. So right at that door. All right, so I'm gonna hit check mark, and then it should pick up. All right, so it's gonna proceed with mapping. And you can put a no-go zone while it's mapping too. Like say you have an area where you just don't even want it to map or stay away completely away from. You can go ahead and add that no-go zone right now. That's nice. Okay, so that took a little bit. All right, so now we have our house. It'll continuously update, so let's proceed to adjustment. So let's edit the map. You can divide. So pick a room you want to divide. So select this big room, hit divide. We're going to move this over. You can pinch and zoom the map, move this line. If it's dotted, it won't do the divide. So you have to move it right where it's solid. Right there, and hit divide. You should get two different colors. You can combine rooms. If you've got too many, you can hide rooms. Let's rename. Take your time with this. Let's rename. You can do custom. I do recommend using these. It'll clean it differently, use different temperatures, I think, for the cleaning, but you can put custom ones. So let's put corner test area. And you can change this at a later date, these names and where they are and all of that. So let's go to next step, environment. No-go zones. Let's add a no-go zone. You can add a virtual wall, which is a line. It won't go past that line. I typically don't use those too much unless I want to prevent it from going into a room. Let's just do the squares, hit the no-go zone. The robot will not go anywhere in this area. There is a no mop zone, so it'll vacuum in the area, but it won't mop. So I know there's computer cables, it's gonna get stuck. No mop zones are purple. I'll just put one over here, but it'll know it's carpet, so. And you can add as many of these as you want, and you can add them later, so take your time. See where it's gonna get stuck first, and then just add them later on as it's getting stuck. Next step are virtual threshold. So I did add that threshold, and it worked very well in the mapping. It added some more, like this one here. Sometimes it randomly adds thresholds. That's just a piece of carpet. It may add later some, like this one here. That's not a threshold, but this one here I added is a threshold. So, and you can add non-passable ones where it won't, and you can put virtual ramps. So let's go next step. Furniture. I don't typically do furniture. Curtains are nice. It'll stay kind of away from curtains. It won't get tangled up in curtains. I don't have any curtains, so we're going to call that good. If you did, you would click the add button, and it was like a little squiggly line. All right, hit next step. Okay, now this is really good. This is the cleaning sequence. Whenever you do a global cleaning, so I wanted to do the corner test first, so let's drag that up. And that's why it's important to take your time naming those. It's easier when they're all named. You can look at the map and say, and they'll have numbers. So the corner test will be number 1. I want to do living room next. You just drag it up, use those lines there. Then I want to do room 2. So find room 2. I'll drag it up. And you can change this at a later date. So he's complete. Save. Clean Genius is going to walk you through some. This is just walking us through them. There's the map, real-time camera, pet care, settings, thresholds, make backups. Yep. Thresholds, they are correct. New rooms. This is like a little robot that's constantly telling you stuff. So, okay. If we want to edit the map more, click on the map button, and then you can map management. You can add floor material, no-go zones, furniture, cleaning sequence, low-lying areas. So if there's an area that you wanted to lower its LiDAR and go under, you can add that, add a low clearance area. You will see these, it'll add some itself as it cleans your house, but I'm not going to add any yet. Carpet, you can fine-tune where the carpet is later. Let it clean your entire house floor first, so it'll identify it because it has a carpet sensor. So floor material is important. So this corner test, select it, hit floor material. I'm going to pick the direction of the floor material. It does go this way, and you can see it change direction on the map if it goes this way. So you want the mop roller to mop in that direction. The first pass will be in that direction. The second pass will be opposite, but it looks like that's it. We got to make sure and tell it to clean in floor direction in the settings. All right. Let's go to settings now. Clean history is where you're going to find your clean history. Schedule cleanup. That's why I tell people put this on a schedule. You can have it mop your kitchen on one day, mop your bathrooms on another day, do a whole house clean. That's what number 1 thing I recommend tell people do. Carpet settings. Okay. Robot will only vacuum the carpet area without mopping. So that is selected. More settings. Mop raise. Robot will lift the mop pads and vacuum carpets. That's the default. You could have it clean carpets first. That way the mop pad's not wet at all. Carpet boost. This can get annoying. It ramps up the suction for carpet, which is what you want, but it can get a little annoying. Side brush on, rotates on carpets off. Carpet cleaning with chassis lift. The robot will lift the chassis when vacuuming carpet to avoid getting stuck in missing areas. It's not recommended, this feature, for floor mats or lint-free cloths. So if you have really thick carpet, it's going to lift its chassis, which I think I'm not going to do it right now since it's not a default, but I will experiment with turning that on. That seems like a really nice feature because I do have some thick carpet. Now, not that robots struggle with this, but I do think if it lifts the chassis, it might help it vacuum. But, well, I'll play around with it. All right, so that's everything with vacuum. You could have it avoid or ignore. It'll mop carpet, so be careful with that. Or just cross. So I'm glad to see the default is on that. Floor cleaning settings. Okay, auto lift, LiDAR sensor. Security coverage or extreme coverage. I just leave it in security coverage. Low clearance cleaning frequency. How often did you want it to lower its LiDAR and go in there? You could do balanced or high. It's on high. I'll leave it on high. Collision avoidance is on. Auto re-cleaning. In Clean Genius mode, we'll clean the heavily soiled areas again when the original cleaning task is complete. So this is that dirt detection sensor. So turn that. I'm going to turn this on. Works in both Clean Genius modes. So when the robot comes back to the base station, it's going to wash that mop roller. It's going to suck the water up into a dirty water tank. It's going to pass through a dirt detection sensor. If the water is dirtier than normal, the base station tells the robot, go back and remop where you just came from. That's called a remopping or a second cleaning. That's off by default. So I recommend turning that. I do like that feature a lot. Here's the one we did earlier. We told it what direction our floor material is. Now we got to tell it to clean in that floor direction. Dynamic obstacle avoidance. Let's see. After enable, the robot will record. Oh, okay, yeah. It's going to like avoid stuff, and then at the end of the job, it'll go back and recheck to see if that stuff's moved. It's kind of neat. Stain recognition and laboratory functions. The stain recognition, I do like. I'll play around with those later. I'm going to leave them off right now just because they're the defaults off. Floor cleaning settings. Did we do? Yeah, we did everything in the floor cleaning settings. Okay. Pet care, pet recognition, pet cleaning, pet activity zones. Auto, you know, it's basically like shortcuts to stuff you would turn on for pets if you had pets. But we'll go through the settings another way, I think. So AI driven mop extend is on, both of them are on, and the frequency is high. Obstacle crossing settings. Active suspension obstacle. When enabled, the robot will prioritize lifting its chassis to cross low height thresholds. I'm not sure what that is. Hurdle. Now, we've seen that. I saw that when it was synchronized. This is meant for like sliding door tracks that have like a U shape. Synchronized is recommended for threshold areas. So, oh, that's like an up and over. Like when it's just there in the middle. If it's up and onto a platform, they want you to do the synchronized. Okay. Dock settings. Okay, looks like mop with detergent. That's mop washing with detergent. Tank. Dreame detergent balanced automatically. Add to turn from A, and B is balanced once a week. And this is where you identify where the pet bowls are, where you identify the pet beds are and stuff. It'll help do this stuff. You could put high frequency or not use the pet detergent. Auto wash. Yeah, it's going to wash the mop roller when it's all done. Yeah, good. Let's do wash settings. Smart washing, standard, deep, water temperature warm. We could go all the way to hot. Boil wash the mop pad at 100 degrees for a deeper clean. I'll leave it on warm. Warm is the default. Washing mode. You could turn the smart on, like it figures everything out for you based on like if it's a kitchen or, you know, I'll leave it like, I'll play around with that later. Auto rewashing. I'm going to turn this on. It's going to, again, if that dirt detection sensor detects the water's dirtier than normal, it'll rewash the mop roller. That's important, I think. But it only works in Clean Genius. Dust bag drying. It'll dry the dust bag after the mop drying task is complete. That's a new thing now. I've never really dealt with that much, but it looks like the Dreame is starting to do that. Dry. Dry mode. You can do mute, which is like takes a long time, or 4, 5, or 6 hours. Auto empty. I leave it in high frequency. You could turn it off, standard, low frequency. I would leave it in high. Clean the washboard base manually. That's going to be a task later on. You'll have to clean the washboard. Intelligent obstacle avoidance is on. Pictures, it's off. You have to enable it. You have to agree. Fill light is on. Voice assistant, I've got it off. Real-time camera, you've got to give it a code. You have to click this little enable button here. Press, agree. Quickly press the dock button 3 times. 1, 2, 3.
Start setting the video activation code.
Okay, now go to settings, and then you're going to set the code. So give it your code. Again, you're giving the code. You're establishing the code. It's not a code that you have to go find or something. So, okay, real-time camera's on. More functions. Add shortcut. Do not disturb. I do recommend turning this on. These things will start in the middle of the night. That's off. So I recommend turning. I'm gonna leave mine off because it's at a studio. Ring light always on. Once enabled, the ring light will stay on during the cleaning task. It's off. I'm not sure. Resume cleaning mode. Yeah, that's the one where it'll go back and charge and start cleaning again in the middle of the night. Child lock, notification, remote control, Wi-Fi management, and device maintenance. You can drain the water tank. This is a new function. Battery. Off-peak charging is off. You can set the charging limit. For longer batteries, you can set it to 90%. So it's never going to charge to 100% to extend the battery. I'll try that. Accessory usage. This is the filter, side brush, main brush, sensors. Every 30 hours, you're going to click that and then reset it after you clean them, of course. Mop roller, 110 hours. The used water tank, 30 hours, you got to clean it. And those dust bag is just replaced as needed. Lots of settings here. Help takes you to, I think, a web, view manuals. Device information, you can change the name, time zone, square meters, goes to square feet. Plug-in, legal, suggestions, device sharing, and firmware update. We're back. We've got the latest one. We're good. Okay, we're done with settings. Again, there's your map of your house. Now you can do an all, and it'll clean all the houses in the order that we established. You can do it in Clean Genius, which is kind of it figuring everything out. You can do Clean Genius, vacuum and mop after vacuum. That's nice. And deep cleaning, I do recommend doing that once in a while. It just kind of goes through your house really extensively. I would recommend doing that the first time and then hit clean now. Or you can do a custom. You can do 4 levels of suction, 1 to 32 levels of wetness. Ooh, you can set the mop pressure. That's new. Light, normal, and intense. How often is it going to go back and wash the mop? By time, by area, or by room? If you don't want the bathroom water from the mop roller to be mixed in with your kitchen, you would do by room then. And then the routine. Let's go mop only. What do we get? We get anything different? We get more routes. We get a deep mopping route. An intense, this is nice, mop pressure. We got to play around with that. Mop after vacuum, and then you can do more custom. Or you can do vacuum only. Let's go back. And you have all those settings when you go to like a room. So when you select room, pick the rooms you want to clean. If it's just 1 or 2 or 3, it's going to clean them in that order that you selected them. Yeah. And then you can do Clean Genius for the rooms or custom like I showed you. And then you can do a zone. And you can add different zones. So there's a zone, add another zone. Or no, that's the cycles. This looks a little different. Water stain cleaning. I got to look into that. Trying to add another zone. I don't see how, oh, there it is right there. It's hidden. So you can add different zones. I don't know what some of this is. There's the cycles. I don't know what water stain cleaning is. And you can choose what you want to do. Clean Genius, mop only with those. So we'll be doing a room clean. All right, that looks like about it. The paw care, yeah. If you hit the dock button, you can tell it to empty, wash. You can start and stop the mop drying and dust bag drying. And if you go back, this is where you connect it to smart speakers. Click the Me, and then you do voice control. No, I thought that was it. Yeah, there they are. They show up. Click on those and it'll walk you through how to do that. All right. This is kind of like the home screen. Whenever you open the app, then you got to go to device, and then it shows you that. So let's do a room. Let's do a test clean. Okay, let's clean the world famous Just a Dad cleaning studio corner testing area. Now keep in mind, this is the first time it's cleaned this. I will do more testing. So the navigation could be off or something. I mean, sometimes they do have to clean a couple times to kind of figure things out, but let's do the corner test area. I'm not going to do the Clean Genius. Let's just do vacuum and mop, turbo. I may vary this, but I do like it pretty wet. Mop pressure, I'll put normal since it's not real dried on. And then I can't do an intense cleaning pattern because it's going to vacuum and mop. So let's do it. Lots of settings, lot to play around with. Again, first cleaning. Clean now. So we'll see what the...
Start selected room cleaning.
I have no idea how the dock's even going to sound. This is all new technology.
Start cleaning mop pads.
Now it's going to fill the robot up with water too. Okay, I hear that mop roller spinning now. Yeah, the dirty water pump and the clean water pump sound about the same. It's not too loud. I keep pausing. I'm just trying to catch the different sounds. We're up to about 2.5 minutes. Up to about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. So it acts like it's not doing anything. Okay, now I hear something. Okay, here we go. It raised the LiDAR. Undocked. It's going to travel to that room. It's super quiet traveling. Okay, we're going to see how the Dreame Aqua 10 Ultra Roller does cleaning up this big muddy mess. Now it can extend the mop pad right up next to the wall. Wow, that's a good job in the corner. Yeah, there's that side brush it can extend. Now we'll check obstacle avoidance. So it is sensing that cable. And it's going to avoid that cable. And it will take a picture of it if you have that option turned on in the app. So after it does the perimeter of the room, it's going to go back and forth in the nice straight lines. Yeah, here's a picture of that obstacle, cord-like. And it took a picture of it. And it's got like a timeline that's going across to let us know when the job's almost finished. That was some dried on stains from earlier. Wasn't quite able to get it. Wow, it's doing a good job. Wow, it's done a good job. Now, I only had it set to do one cleaning. I meant to do 2 passes, but it actually did a pretty good job on the first pass. So yeah, it's about done.
Completed. Returning to the dock to charge.
Okay, so it's going to go back to the docking station, wash the mop roller, and empty the auto dustbin. Now, if I wanted it to go under that furniture, I could add a section in the map that's called a low line section where it would lower that LiDAR, and then it would go under that piece of furniture. It is very quiet traveling back to the dock. And here's the docking station. It's going to back up, wash the mop roller, and auto empty the dustbin. Up here, this is where you fill up the clean water tank with clean water, and that's where the dirty water tank's going to go. That was pretty cool.
Start auto empty. Start cleaning mop pads.
Okay, so there are some things that it's washing the mop pad. That thing did amazing. There was some that looked different down here, the timeline. There was some other things here I got to play with. I wasn't able to adjust the pressure once the cleaning started, but I was able to change the water flow, but I didn't. That was pretty incredible for a first pass. It needed another pass in the corner. This did a really good job. It left a little bit of dirt right here. So it needed a second pass. Yeah, there's kind of some track marks right there. So, no, well, not perfect. I think I got to play some more. I would hope the Clean Genius, if I had it in Clean Genius, it would tell it to go back and remop that area. Not too bad. Again, we'll empty the dirty water tank. I really wish they would put that auto remopping for when you're not in Clean Genius, but so it did take lots of pictures, cord-like. Yeah. A lot more. It's getting late tonight. It's 7:30 on a Saturday. So I had way too many people asking me about this. I had to come to work today. I don't know what this flexible cleaning, that's where you add an extra cleaning or skip an area, so they've just kind of combined that. Yeah. This thing's pretty cool. 1,700 bucks? 1,600, I'm sorry. 30,000 pascals of suction roller. It can extend and lift. Dual roller, yes, in a dirty water tank. I got a lot of testing to do here. I didn't check that cover for the... I did, when it was mapping, when it would go over some things, you would hear that cover scraping. There's a cover that goes over the mop roller. So, and once in a while, I'd even hear it on the hardwood floor, so. Yeah, sometimes it's just kind of sitting there. It makes you think it's not doing anything, but it still says it's washing the mop, so.
Task completed. Please empty the used water tank timely. Start dehydrating mop pad.
Okay, so the brush roller turned, but then it stopped. Man, you can barely hear that fan. I can hear it, but that's the quietest fan I've ever heard. But I imagine it's going to turn that mop roller once in a while. And that can be, I'll try to catch it, but that can be kind of scary to go, maybe to go zzz. But that's the quietest drying I've ever heard. So let's go empty this. Didn't use a whole lot of water. Wow, it's really dirty though. That did a really good job. Well, this is going to be fun to play with. I'm glad I got it. $1,600. I actually kind of expected it to be more than that. That's what some of the top tier spinning mop pad rollers. So there's going to be, I don't know what the future is yet. I mean, I almost would have thought it would have got all the dirt, but on the second pass, it definitely would have gotten it. Now these definitely shine. A lot of the testing you see with these mop rollers is liquid. They are the undisputed champion. When there's a liquid spill on the floor that's liquid, mop pads that spin do not do a good job. These do the best job. Now, everyday cleaning, I think there's still some, you know, obviously these do better, I think. But sometimes you get more stuff involved than just with those. Those can be cheaper, which do just as good a job. So anyway, long story, but that's actually a really cool robot. It was a much nicer experience than when I was doing the flow. I will be comparing the two, and I do have the new MOVA V50, I think. And I don't know, I'm not sure I'm going to get the Ecovacs one. I haven't been hearing good things about it, so I'm going to probably stick with just these. I did get a new Roomba. That thing's 1,300 bucks, but I just unboxed it and connected it to my Wi-Fi, but now I got to let it sit because it's got some really important updates to do. But it takes a while, and you really can't, you don't know when the dock has to update, so. But I will compare it. Mop roller, mop roller, mop roller. So thanks everybody for watching. I do appreciate it. Check out my website, justadadapproved.com. Sign up for the email when, like, if this robot goes on a super big sale, I mean, so far it's pretty cool. I absolutely love it. Let me know what you think of my new sticker. I'm going to develop some new stickers. So people were kind of mad at me that I threw the Just a Dad sticker on the Narwhal Flow. Well, it was for other reasons. Sometimes my videos, some people just flat out steal them and throw them on they put them on different platforms. And I'm like, that's my video. So I've been putting my sticker on, so I'm going to come up with, my sticker is going to be on the product, but then I'm coming up with another sticker called Just a Dad Approved. And then I'm going to also have another sticker that says Just a Dad Testing in Progress. So I thought that was kind of cool. That way, you see my sticker, it's testing. We're not fully there yet, but when it finally gets that Just a Dad sticker seal of approval, then that's pretty much, I'm sold on it. So again, I did buy this with my own money. I haven't had any of these robots sent to me for free. I do appreciate everybody's support. If you use a link in my video, on my website, in my email, the product doesn't cost you anymore, but I do get a small commission from the sale. It's a way of helping support my channel. I just really appreciate everybody's support. Thanks everybody. JustADadApproved.com. If you could, please like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.